Welcome in to the Goose and the Griz podcast, or should I say the No Goose and the Griz solo cast. As you may be aware, Goose is somewhere lost in the woods, and that is the theme of this week, is that lost feeling, the missing person, the Amber Alert that's going off on your phones. That's not for a kid that's been taken. That is for fantasy. That is for this week. That is for how a lot of us feel about our teams right now. Goose is somewhere lost in the woods up north. I am lost as well. As you can see, I got a green screen, but I lost my background. I'm not in Raymond James Stadium. They wouldn't let me in this week. So at the same time, we have a lot of players that are lost with injuries. Give you a rundown just to kind of get into week 5 and all its hellacious results here. Justin Jefferson, Achan, Connor, Matt Milano, the Buffalo linebacker, that's a big one. It matters when you're playing that Buffalo defense. Anthony Richardson, Tank Dell's on the injury report. Travis Kelce's on the injury report again. Vera Tucker, the Jets guard. Offensive line matters in the NFL, believe it or not. Daniel Jones, that might actually be a benefit to the Giants. Who knows at this point? Khalil Herbert is on the injury list. So is Roschon Johnson, who could have, had a chance to break out this week. And then even others. Juju, Olave, Wan'Dale Robinson, the Muth is still out. So we have all these guys that are out, and it just feels like the theme of the week is that lost feeling. From the podcast to fantasy to real football, this is where we're at. So let's make the best of it. Let's get into the results last week. And we had kind of a mini game of the week. It didn't come down to Monday night, but it did come down to Sunday night, and that was Joel and Lewis. Joel improves to 3-2. Lewis goes to 1-4, 122.5 to 116. Joel had 16 points from Pollard and Ayuk to come from behind and take the 6.5-point win. He was down by 10 or roughly 10. Came from behind to take the win from Lewis. Looking at their different positions here, Joel had the edge by 30 points in his high 5. The flex position was in Lewis's favor, 66.5 to 43.5, so about a 23-point difference there. And it was not even a competition on the bench. It was 51.5 to 8. But going with the theme of lost, who did they lose? Who have they lost? Who have they dealt with in regards to this lost week? This I wouldn't say a lost season, but it feels like for some it could be. Lewis, of course, has had Eckler out. He's got Freiermuth out. Mike Williams is on IR. That's a big one. And then, of course, Herbert as well, Khalil Herbert. For Joel, he's had to deal with Kelce on the injury report. Was missing in week 1. Who knows about this week? Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's missed some time, and he might miss more. Who knows? And Jeff Wilson, he took him knowing that might be the case, but still, he hasn't made it back yet from the IR. So again, Joel improves to 3-2. Lewis drops to 1-4, but Lewis has been in the thick of it. So we'll see if he can maybe make the best of it in week 6. Going off our remaining games here, I'm just going to go in order here. Me versus Alex. I lost, obviously, to Alex by 21 points. I was hoping that maybe Christian McCaffrey might come through for me. But I kind of knew that the Cowboys might not let that happen. They'd probably focus on them. Their defense sucks, at least sucked versus the 49ers this past week. But they did enough to prevent McCaffrey from having a huge week. So I dropped to 3-2. Alex improves to 3-2. He holds that tiebreaker edge right now in our division. Who have I lost? Well, Anthony Richardson's on IR, at least for 4 weeks, with that throwing shoulder hurting. Jahmyr Gibbs missed this week, and Dalton Kincaid, my rookie tight end, that hasn't really popped off yet, but he's on the concussion protocol. We'll have to see if he can play this week. I don't know if I'll need him, but not fun. But Alex doesn't really have anything currently. He does have Waddle. He did have Waddle earlier, and Miles Sanders has gone back and forth with, pulling his groin, and it felt so good he pulled it again. But right now he is a little bit in the clear. That is until he traded for Justin Jefferson, which just happened a little bit earlier today, getting him from Zahid. Justin Jefferson will miss at least the next 4 weeks. If you're not familiar, once the 4 weeks are up, you can be activated, and you have 21 days to be moved to the active roster. Now, in that time, who knows if Justin Jefferson will be playing, if the Vikings will have anything to play for. It might be something that, quite honestly, he might not play the rest of the year, and that would be very bad for Alex. But at the very least, if he does come back after 4 weeks, he should be his regular self. He does have that bye in week 13, but that would be about it. So Alex is, of course, hoping for the best case scenario so he can sneak into the playoffs and then go off on everybody, which, if he does have Justin Jefferson, that could be a realistic outcome there. Next up, Gus and his brother, Sam. Two brothers playing each other. Gus gets his first win of the year, 130-81. A near 50-point win over Sam. Sam's team just didn't even really put up much of a fight in this one. Who was lost in this game, or at least lost per team? Sam has dealt with Saquon being out since early in the year. He should return this week. We'll have to see how that looks, especially if Daniel Jones is not there, and how that offense looks like hell. Cooper Kupp, he was injured the first 4 weeks, but in his first game back, he looked great. One of the few bright spots for Sam. As far as Gus, he's had to deal with Zay Jones. Jacoby Myers has had some injuries. And, of course, Javonte Williams kind of started the year with injuries. Also had another injury that has crept up and kept him out of the last game. So, again, just like everybody, dealing with some lost players. Next up, Manny and Saheed. This one was an absolute barn burner for Manny. 193.75 to 98.5. Manny almost won by 100 points. This was a tough one, to say the least. In fact, it was a 95-point game, 95.25 win for Manny over Saheed. Saheed drops to 2-3 in this divisional battle. Manny is at 5-0. He is undefeated so far. As we've said, his first 2 games are pretty close, and he has absolutely wiped the floor with everybody since. We'll have to see if he can keep that up. Who has Saheed lost? Well, it's known. Achane is out. Justin Jefferson is now on a different team. Jonathan Taylor started the year out. That was by injury, not because of the contract situation, but, that's up to interpretation. And he also has Deontay on IR right now as well. Manny is dealing with injury. James Conner, Roshan Johnson, Jay Will got hurt early, and even Monty has had an injury that kept him out, although he's been killing it when he's on the field, and he looks like he's back to normal there. Next up, Kyle versus Jeff. Kyle with the win, 158-123 over Jeff, 35-point win there. Kyle improves to 3-2. Jeff falls to 1-4. Quickly beginning to look like an unlucky season for Jeff. He hasn't been too badly hit by the injury bug. He drafted Kyler Murray knowing that he might miss a good chunk of the year, so can't really say that's the injury bug. Gainwell, I would say, was a little bit of a miss. He had a good game the first game and then missed some time with that rib injury, and that's when DeAndre Swift came in and has pretty much taken over that running back role. So it's almost like because of that injury, he lost a running back, even though he's healthy now. He's just not getting the same amount of work. Kyle has definitely been hit by the injury bug. Nick Chubb with that horrifying injury on Monday Night Football in the second week of the year. Juju is on the injury report. Not a huge loss there, but still another body. And we have 4 flex, so every body matters. And Justice Hill has missed some time as well. A key replacement for J.K. Dobbins being out. Which I also forgot to mention too. I forget who had J.K. Dobbins, but that was a big hit as well. Week 1, tearing that Achilles, no bueno. Last up, Carlos improves to 4-1 after suffering his first loss. He rebounds well, 172 points over Hector, 3-2, with 134.75. Hector's only really been hit with the injury bug with T. Higgins. Carlos has had Tank Dell, Aaron Jones, Mike Evans, and Justin Herbert. Now, Mike Evans and Justin Herbert, Mike Evans has It should be fine. He got hurt and missed the rest of a game, but he hasn't missed a whole game, at least yet. Justin Herbert did return after dislocating or maybe breaking that finger on his non-throwing hand. He likely won't miss any time, but still, it definitely makes you pause and makes you sweat a little bit when you see your guys get hurt. Next up, our NFL games that we care about. Now, the Bucs were on bye this past week. They play the Lions coming up. That's the creamsicle game. That'll be interesting. I think it'll be a good litmus test. I think it'll be one of those games versus a team that is really very good. Not as good as the Eagles, maybe. They could be. But if we can beat them, that would be a very big win, and it wouldn't be like winning against the Lions of old. Also, the Saints and the Pats. Good God. 34-0. The Patriots are absolutely circling the drain. I kind of wonder if they're going to tank for Caleb. That would be scary to see Caleb Williams go to New England, but that would be the best case scenario for them. But they have been outscored, I think, 72-3 in the past 2 games versus the Cowboys, 38-3, 34-0 to the Saints. The Saints play at the Texans this upcoming week. That should be a good one as well, because the Texans are an up-and-coming team, still underperforming a little bit, though. Dolphins and the Giants. Dolphins did what they needed to do. It didn't look that spectacular, but they won by 2 touchdowns versus the Giants, 31-16. The Finns did lose Achane. We'll have to see how that backfield looks because they're getting Ahmed back. Jeff Wilson should be back soon. Mostert will get another chance. And they do have another rookie running back. I think his name is Chris Brown, if I'm not mistaken. I forget. But they have another rookie back that could get a chance to flash, and we'll have to see if he takes over. I'm sure he's pretty fast as well, knowing what that team likes in their offensive skill players. The Dolphins play the Panthers at home in Week 6. Next up, the Eagles and the Rams. This was a pretty entertaining game. Eagles get the 23-14 win. Did just enough. The Rams have been playing pretty good. I hate the Rams, so of course it's hard for me to say that, but I have to be honest. And the Eagles play at the Jets next week. That could be an interesting game. The Jets have looked a little better. Wouldn't exactly say good. But I could see that Jets defense being a test for the Eagles. At the same time, I don't know if the Jets offense will be able to take advantage of maybe the defense slowing them down a bit. But we'll have to see what happens because the Jets have been playing teams pretty close, even teams that that nobody thought that they would be playing close. Jags played the Bills, last but not least. Involved 2 of our teams, 2 of the league's teams that we care about here. Jags and Bills over in London. Jags got the win, surprisingly, 25-20. Both teams are hard to figure out. The Jags look good at times. They beat teams like the Bills, who could very easily be the AFC Super Bowl representative this year. And sometimes they just look like crap, like scoring 9 points versus the Chiefs. The Bills, same thing. They lost to the Jets in Week 1. They blow out some teams like the Commanders, but then they look very pedestrian and don't move the ball until they have to, and the game's already over. Next week, the Jags play the Colts, and the Bills play the Giants. It's very interesting to me, though, that they no longer mandate that the London teams get a bye week after they come back to the States, so we'll have to see if there's any jet lag by any of those teams. The Bills should mop up the floor with the Giants. The Jags and the Colts might be a little tougher, especially with Minshew having possibly a revenge game, so we'll have to see. Let's preview Week 6, moving right along here. The first up, we do have another Dynasty Belt game. This is one of those extra games outside of the division, thanks to the schedule. That might change next year. Gus and I are talking about possibly making 3 divisions of 4 teams, which would actually make it so that every team plays their division opponents twice and every other team once, and it would actually work out evenly. Haven't made any final decisions. If you have any thoughts about that, let us know. But right now, we play all our division opponents twice. We play everybody else once, and then a random team an extra time. Sahid is my random extra time team, which means an extra Dynasty Belt game. If he wins this game, he gets the belt back. He started the year with it, so we'll have to see how that goes. Right now I am favored by 14, unless me and Saheed maybe work out a trade, which could happen. It's always hard to trade with someone you play that week, but it is a possibility. I'm not opposed to it. But right now I am favored by 2 touchdowns. Joel and Jeff. Joel is favored by 4 in this game. Right now, as we had gone over, Joel is right now 3-2. Jeff is 1-4. So this is going to be an important game for Jeff if he's going to get back on the upswing here. He's going to need to make sure he takes care of Joel. Right now, it is predicted to be a close game. Could be a game of the week. Joel is favored by 4 points. That is it. So Jeff does have a shot. Kyle and Carlos. This will be another really good game here. Kyle is favored by 20 right now, which is kind of surprising given the points that Carlos puts up on a regular basis. So we'll have to see how that holds up. Next up, Sam and Manny. Manny is only favored by 7, so they're saying that Sam has a chance. Again, I don't know if there's anybody with buys right now that is out on either side that's factoring in there. But Sam versus Manny is looking to be another close game. So Manny might finally not be able to blow somebody out of the water for the 4th week in a row, because if he does, it will be 4 weeks in a row that he absolutely kills his opponent. Gus and Alex. Another division game here. Right now, Alex is favored by 17. We'll have to see how that holds up. Gus is trying to make his win streak 2. Alex is trying to do the same, see if he can make sure that he holds on to that lead, especially trading for Justin Jefferson. It's going to be very important for him to try and keep it together, at least get a couple of wins. He might not be able to go 4-0, depending on how long JJ is out. But he's certainly going to want to make sure that he doesn't lose the entire time, so that when he gets Justin Jefferson back, he's only playing for the loser bracket. So it's going to be very interesting. We'll have to see if he can keep that together. He gave up some good capital to get Justin Jefferson for that late season push. And last but not least, Lewis versus Hector. The line is Hector by 22. Right now, that is the biggest predicted spread among all 6 games. Kyle and Carlos is by 20, but Lewis and Hector is by 22. So we'll have to see if Lewis can get his 2nd win of the year and tie his win total from last year. But that is where we are at. I know it's kind of a short video, not one that me and Goose are going back and forth on with a bunch of thoughts. And obviously, like I said, it's the theme of the week is lost, and Goose is out there, I believe in Georgia or Tennessee, getting lost out there himself. I am still at home, getting lost in my office with a green screen that you can obviously see is not helping me out in regards to my background. And unfortunately, as far as not being helpful, neither are a lot of our players. I can't remember a year where we had this many big names that are out. I remember seeing Justin Jefferson and Achane being out. Those are 2 top 3 fantasy players going into week 5, and they're just gone. And it's going to be tough to see how that will be overcome. Saheed has already done what's very important, which is try to reimagine his team, see if he can stay on the upswing, do something to make it this year. Alex has taken a chance as well. I don't think he's going to trade Achane because that could be a keeper for him, but if somebody wants him, he could be another late season push, and it might be worth Saheed's time to talk with you. But that is going to be it this week. I will say that going into week 6, there are still a couple of teams that are on bye. I believe it's the Packers and the Steelers. I don't think there's anybody else, but be on the lookout. Week 7 is going to be that, what do they call it, the bye-mageddon, where we have like 6 or 7 teams on bye. That's not going to be fun. So start preparing, start looking for trades, start looking ahead at the schedules, and good luck, everybody. Peace out.